Welcome to Empower Connect, a podcast of personal stories on forgiveness to encourage you to embrace lessons contributing to your growth in life to bring inner peace by self-acceptance and self-love. I am Carolyn McLean, your host. I am a forgiveness life coach that empower women that have been hurt by their parents to connect with Jesus so that they can forgive, grow in wisdom, and connect with themselves and others. Today's podcast title is How to Learn to Love Yourself Unconditionally. I would like to talk about loving yourself when you cannot stand to look at yourself in the mirror. Also, changing your mindset about how you feel about yourself. And I also would like to leave you with steps you can take to start loving yourself. I used to hate myself. I did not feel I was good enough. I did not feel I had what it took to achieve anything in life. I tried hard to get people to look at me, and of course, I received intense rejection. I did not even want to look at myself in the mirror because I did not love myself. And looking in the mirror, I would find more fault than positive. I did not have the courage to even dream that life could be better. Not loving myself made me a dull person inside and putting on a mask for others. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you like what you see, or do you not like what you see? Do you wonder how others see you? We are concerned about our outer appearance, especially how we appear to others physically. Therefore, we may make sure that we are always presentable, always checking ourselves in the mirror. We want people to look at us a certain way, so we constantly check out our appearance in the mirror. But sometimes we cannot help but to wonder if the image that we see in the mirror is how others see us. So I ask you, what do you see when you look in the mirror? I'm not talking about the reflection you see from the glass mirror to check your outer appearance. I'm talking about the one we try to hide. I am talking about the authentic you. You know, the mirror that shows the true reflection when no one is looking. Your true essence. What makes you, you. The inner self mirror of yourself is the one you may struggle to love. We put on a mask so others do not see this part of us. We become fearful that if someone takes a glimpse of this, it would destroy their perception of us. We put on a mask and pray that no one finds out about what is under the mask. Underneath the mask is the emotions that we keep hidden from the world. We may try to laugh them off, build a wall to protect them, just so no one will get too close to see the real us. These emotions can make us not love ourselves, and we even try to ignore these feelings sometimes. These feelings makes it impossible for us to love ourselves unconditionally because we cannot stand to look at ourselves in the inner self mirror. The inner self mirror that I am talking about is the one that is angry. You are easily to get mad at yourself about something or any mistake you make. I'm talking about the one that is unforgiving. It is hard to forgive yourself and others who have wronged you. You keep replaying the incident over and over in your head. I'm talking about The one that is jealous. You are jealous of other people's success, at your siblings, at your coworkers, anybody that seems in your mind is moving better than you. I'm talking about the one that is bitter. You have bitterness towards yourself and towards others. I'm talking about the one that overly drinks in secret because you cannot handle the feelings that you feel inside. I'm talking about the one that is addicted and do not want to admit they need help. The addiction is really controlling your life. I'm talking about the one that wants to give up because they do not see any hope in the future. I'm talking about the one who can say negative things about themselves because you cannot stand to make mistakes. I'm talking about the one who sits in the dark because they do not know how to move forward because the present is so dark. I'm talking about the one who is depressed and feel dejected. It takes everything for you to even get up out of bed every day. I'm talking about the one who prays harm on others because you think this will make you feel better if harm comes to them. I'm talking about the one who lies because they do not like their life or nothing about themselves. I'm talking about the one who feels like a failure because no matter how hard you try, it seems like nothing works. It is like you taking one step forward and get knocked back 2 steps. I'm talking about the one who keeps making excuses because they do not want to change in their mind, because it is easier to make excuses because they are not motivated to change. And I'm talking about the one that contemplates suicide because you feel like the world would be better off without you. Or you feel that death is better than dealing with the storm you are facing right now. If you have any of these thoughts, please talk to someone, especially suicide. Talk to a family member, a friend, a pastor, a therapist, even the suicide line. Give me a call. Email me. It is hard enough when we go through life and you are constantly having these feelings and trying to put on an appearance for others, but deep down, you cannot love yourself. I understand I have been there. For me to love myself, I needed to take a good look at who I was, including my flaws. I needed to look to see and understand why I felt the way I did about myself. I needed to get to the root cause of my feelings. Some of us try to avoid looking at our inner self mirror just because the pain we find within is too hard. If you are unkind, critical, or judgmental towards yourself, you will behave and act in the way that is unkind to yourself. Getting down to the root of your feelings will take you looking deeply within your inner self mirror. Inner self mirror is within you and not outside of you. You can only see this reflection inside after you turn off the external thoughts, opinions, expectations, and standards of others. This is where we sit and focus on ourselves. The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians 13:5, examine yourself as to see whether you are in faith. Yes, examine yourself to see why you feel the way that you do about yourself and why you act the way you do toward yourself. It is time to look within yourself to find who you are. Now, the inner self mirror is deceiving. It is a nasty piece of work that can make you look worse than you are. The inner self mirrors are distorted by our perception that we continue to play in our head of why we do not love ourselves. In order to love yourself unconditionally, you have to make a choice to change your mindset about yourself. You have to renew your mind about yourself. This is not something that is handed to you. Loving yourself unconditionally is not found in someone else or an object. It is found in you choosing to change. Now, give yourself permission to love yourself unconditionally. You have been hating yourself long enough. Now it is time to let go of the toxic thoughts about yourself of not being good enough. It is time to tell your inner self, hate, no. Instead, tell your inner self mirror, I am not perfect, and that is okay. You deserve to be loved no matter how many times you feel you are not. You must love yourself first. Yes, love yourself first. Loving yourself is not selfish. It is an acceptance who you are. You are who you are, including your flaws, and there is nothing wrong with that. Learning to love yourself is not based on what others think. It is based on how you feel about yourself. In 2 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7, it talks about love. Verse 4 says, love is patient and kind. So I ask you, are you patient and kind with yourself? Patience wasn't always present because I like to make things happen, like now. Love is not jealous, boastful, or pride. So are you jealous? Do you boast? Are you proud? Well, for me, envy is one of the areas I excel at because I always genuinely is happy for others. Boasting creates a delicate balance game because I like to celebrate victories with others, but I also don't want to sound like I'm bragging. But pride is an area that I have to bring to God often because candidly, it sneaks in when I least expect it. Verse 5 says, are rude. So are you rude to yourself? It does not demand its own way. You should not be angry because you cannot have your way. Are you angry because you can't have your way? It continues. It is not irritable and it keeps no record of being wrong. Are you forgiving? Or do you keep track of the wrongs of others? Keeping tracks of wrong of others, this is where I ask God daily to allow me to walk in forgiveness. Verse 6, it does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. In other words, you should not rejoice in other people's pain. Verse 7, love never gives up. This lets us know that you are not to give up, so do not give up. It says it never loses faith. You have to keep the faith. It's always hopeful, so you need to always stay hopeful. And endures through every circumstances. This is telling us that no matter what we endure, every circumstances, we can get through it. You must spend your life with yourself. Loving yourself unconditionally will have its fair of shares of ups and downs, and sometimes you might find it difficult to love yourself. But a long-time relationship deserves unconditional love, right? Right. Taking a good hard look at your internal stories, this can be revealing as to why you struggle to love yourself. Someone or something at some point made you feel that you are not good enough. This could have been a family member, a friend. The words or the act caused you to develop a complex about yourself. It made you question your worth, and you took this knowledge and used it to hate yourself. Loving yourself unconditionally requires you to see yourself differently. So what stories are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself, I can't do this because I'm too clumsy, stupid, weak? Or are you telling yourself, I cannot have this in my life because I'm not good enough? This is not meant for me. Or do you tell yourself, if it was like this, I could get what I want? Or do you tell yourself, I'm too short, I'm too ugly? Words have power. Be mindful not to judge yourself too harshly or with someone else's yardstick. You shall acknowledge and greet your true self with open arms and embrace all aspects that you see. Yes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It is only when you do this that we can begin any true transformation. Doing anything other than that is just going through the motions and not benefiting you. Most of these thoughts are not facts. They are only opinions of ourselves, but we treat these opinions as facts, undisputable facts. Telling yourself you cannot do something or you're not good enough, guess what? You're right. You will not be able to. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy that confirms in our brain that our opinions are facts. When you say I cannot, or I can't, or this isn't for me, you are killing two things. You are killing your hope because you are deciding you cannot, so there's no reason to try. The second thing, you are killing your growth. You cut off the opportunity to try, fail, and grow. You become stuck in a fixed mindset with no choice but to succumb to your faith as a self-imposer loser. If you want to love yourself, this needs to stop because these are not facts. As we go through life, we grow. We change, we learn, and we become entirely different people. So we have to continue to learn to love ourselves as we change and grow. Self-love is not achieved. It is a journey as you discover your true identity. It all starts by asking Jesus to examine your heart and to heal any brokenness in it. Next week, I will continue to talk about how to love yourself unconditionally with the steps you would take to start loving yourself. I want to thank you for tuning in. I deeply appreciate it. I hope this podcast has been a blessing and encouragement to you. Please subscribe to this podcast, and that way you will never miss an episode. Also, feel free to share with others. You can connect with me by visiting my website at www.curlingcoaching.com. And just remember this, you may get knocked down, but you are not out. Get up. This is not the end of your story. Just get up and turn the page and start a new chapter, because your story is not over yet. I want to thank you, and God bless you.